Your brain is getting trained for scrolling and untrained for deep thinking. That is the real problem. Most people say they want better focus, sharper memory, and a faster mind. But then they spend the whole day feeding their brain quick stimulation and wondering why concentration feels weaker than it used to. So, today, we are not doing another just meditate speech. We are actually going to work your brain. And the good news is, this does not need to feel boring or complicated. I am going to show you 5 simple brain exercises that are fast enough to try right away, strange enough to wake your mind up, and useful enough to make you feel the difference. One of them takes 20 seconds and will immediately show you how jumpy your attention is. That is why this matters. Because most people do not realize their brain is being trained every day anyway. The question is, trained for what? More distraction, more restlessness, more half-focus, or better attention, stronger recall, and faster mental control. So, if you think your brain is already sharp, perfect. Let's test it. Let's see how fast you really are. How well your attention holds when the pattern changes. How your brain reacts when it has to do something unexpected instead of something easy. Because the brain does not get sharper by staying comfortable. It gets sharper when it is challenged on purpose. And the first exercise is going to expose that fast. If you fail this first one, it's not you. It's your training. The first exercise looks easy. That is exactly why it is dangerous. It is called the Schull table, and it will show you very quickly whether your attention is actually sharp or just restless. Here is how it works. You look at a grid with the numbers 1 to 25 placed randomly. Your job is simple. Find 1, then 2, then 3, all the way to 25, as fast as you can. That is it. No tricks, no complicated rules, just visual search, attention control, and speed. But the second the timer starts, most people feel the gap. Your eyes jump too fast. You skip a number. You look at the same area twice. You lose the sequence. And suddenly, something that looked childish starts exposing how unstable your focus really is. That is the point. Do 3 rounds, write down your best time, and try again tomorrow. Use simple levels. Beginner 60 to 90 seconds. Intermediate 40 to 60 seconds. Advanced under 40 seconds. Now you can actually measure progress. And this exercise helps in a very real way. It trains visual search. It reduces those tiny regressions where your eyes keep going back over the same spot. It helps you lock onto one target instead of letting your attention scatter. That shows up everywhere: reading faster, tracking details better, losing your place less often, and staying more stable under time pressure. So if this first one humbles you, good. That does not mean your brain is weak. It means your attention is trainable. Your attention is a skill. This is a rep. Now let's test a different kind of weakness. Not how fast your eyes move, how well your brain can override autopilot. Because that is where a lot of people struggle in real life too. You read too fast and miss what was actually there. You answer before thinking. You react on instinct, then realize a second later you were wrong. That is exactly why this next exercise works. It is the color word twist, also known as the Stroop test. Here is the challenge. You see a word like blue, but the text is printed in red. Your job is not to read the word. Your job is to say the color of the ink. That sounds easy until you try it. Because your brain wants the shortcut. It wants to read the word automatically. But this exercise forces it to slow down, suppress the first impulse, and choose the correct response instead. That is what makes it powerful. It trains attention control, mental flexibility, response inhibition, and those skills show up everywhere. Catching careless mistakes on a test, not blurting out the wrong answer in class, switching faster between tasks without getting mentally stuck. If this one scrambles your brain a little good, that means it is hitting the exact system that needs training. Try a few rounds and beat your own time, or make it harder by doing it in a second language. Because focus is not just about staying on task. Sometimes it is about stopping your brain from doing the wrong task automatically. And if this one tripped you up, comment 1 below. Now let's challenge your brain in a completely different way. Not with speed, not with color, with awareness. Because a lot of people move through the day on autopilot and do not realize how much they depend on their eyes to do the work for them. That is why this exercise is so useful. Close your eyes for a moment and try a simple task, but do it safely. Sit down first. Use a clear table. No sharp objects, no walking around. Now start with easy levels. Level 1, touch your nose, then your left ear, then your right shoulder. Level 2, draw a circle, or write your name with your eyes closed. Level 3, pick up a pen and place it back near the center of the table without looking. That sounds basic. It is not. The second you remove sight, your brain has to rely more on internal awareness, hand control, and spatial judgment instead of quick visual shortcuts. And that is the point. This is not about doing something impressive. It is about interrupting autopilot. Because in real life, a lot of mistakes happen when the brain is moving too automatically. You reach too fast. You place things carelessly. You move without really noticing what your body is doing. This kind of exercise can help train awareness, proprioception, and more deliberate control over time. In simple terms, less autopilot, better hand control, more intentional movement. That is why this works. You are not trying to be amazing with your eyes closed. You are teaching your brain to pay closer attention when one easy shortcut disappears. And once you interrupt autopilot with your eyes closed, the next move is even more practical: use the wrong hand. Because nothing exposes a lazy brain faster than asking it to do a familiar task in an unfamiliar way. Most people think they are coordinated until they try brushing their teeth, folding a towel, writing one line, brushing their hair, or using a computer mouse with their non-dominant hand. That is when the system glitches. The movement gets slower, messier, less automatic. And suddenly something you do every day feels strangely new. That is useful. Your brain loves shortcuts. It builds routines, defaults, and automatic patterns to save effort. Helpful, yes, but those same shortcuts can make you less deliberate than you think. Autopilot hates unfamiliar reps. Using your non-dominant hand forces the brain to slow down and pay attention again. Not because it is magical, because it interrupts the usual path. So keep it simple and safe. Brush your teeth with that hand. Fold a towel. Write one short line. Use your mouse for half a minute. Hold an empty cup and move it carefully from one spot to another. Here is the protocol. Pick 3 tasks, 30 seconds each. Once a day. That is enough. Over time, this can improve coordination, hand control, and mental flexibility. And many people notice something quickly. They stop rushing through familiar actions without thinking. Less autopilot, more deliberate movement, more awareness in simple tasks. Same life. New wiring. And once you break autopilot with your eyes closed and your non-dominant hand, the next move is this. Make your brain solve, not just consume. Because a lot of people think they are mentally active all day when they are really just reacting. Scrolling is not training. Watching is not training. Even reading can stay passive if your brain never has to make a decision. That is why this matters. Use puzzles and brain games that force your mind to search, compare, predict, and solve. Chess, Sudoku, logic puzzles, crosswords, pattern-matching games. Not because they are magic, because they give your brain real reps. Chess pushes planning. Sudoku pushes pattern logic. Crosswords push recall. Fast-matching games push speed and visual discrimination. Here is the rule: 10 minutes, 1 puzzle, no interruptions. Stop while it is still challenging. That part matters, because the goal is not to zone out and play forever. The goal is to make the brain work on purpose. And you do not need an app for that. A pencil puzzle works. A printed Sudoku works. A chessboard works. Over time, many people notice cleaner attention, better problem switching, and less mental sluggishness. But keep the expectation honest. It won't replace real studying, but it trains mental reps. That is the value. You are not trying to escape into another screen. You are using challenge to sharpen the system itself. And if you want, comment 1, and I'll give you a simple 7-day brain reps menu. And once you start giving your brain real reps, here is the bigger shift. Stop treating brain training like a random extra, and start treating it like maintenance. Because one good challenge once in a while will not change much. Reps beat hype? That is the rule. A lot of people try one exercise, feel a little mental burn, then forget about it for 3 days. That gives them a nice moment, not a better brain. The real change happens when the reps become repeatable. 1 Schulte round while your coffee is brewing. 1 eyes closed task before you sit down to work. 1 non-dominant hand task while getting ready. 1 puzzle, instead of 1 mindless scroll break. Now it starts becoming part of real life. And that is where it gets useful. Because your brain responds to what you repeat, not what impressed you once. Over time, that kind of consistency can lead to changes. You actually notice less rereading, faster refocus after distraction, fewer little attention slips, and better control in simple tasks that used to run on autopilot. That is the win. Not becoming some genius overnight. Just becoming sharper, steadier, and more deliberate. So do not try to do all 5 perfectly. Pick one. Keep it short. Repeat it tomorrow. Consistency is the upgrade. And if you want, comment 1, and I'll give you a simple 7-day brain plan, 5 minutes a day, 1 exercise per day. So here is the real takeaway. Your brain does not stay sharp by accident. It stays sharp when you stop letting every day run on autopilot. That is the point of all 5 exercises. Not to turn you into a genius overnight. Not to make you obsessed with brain hacks. And definitely not to prove you are broken if one of these felt harder than it looked. It is the opposite. If the Schulte table scrambled you that showed you where your visual focus leaks, if the color test tripped you up that exposed how fast autopilot takes over, if the eyes closed challenge felt awkward, that showed how little attention you usually give your own movement, if the non-dominant hand felt clumsy, that proved your brain still has room to adapt, if the puzzle made you stop and really think good, that is the kind of friction your brain needs. That is why this matters in real life. Less rereading, less zoning out, less drifting through easy routines half awake, more control when your attention slips, more awareness in simple tasks, more confidence that your brain can still learn, switch, adapt, and get sharper. That is the win. Not I did one brain challenge, but I stopped letting my brain stay lazy. So keep it simple. Pick one exercise. Do it for a few minutes a day. Treat it like reps, not entertainment. Because the goal is not to impress yourself once. It is to train your brain often enough that focus control and mental flexibility start feeling normal again. And if you want the full 7-day brain workout plan, comment 1 below.